Hello there and welcome to part 2 here. Now the first part was literally about designing the pattern. So I'm going to put the pattern up on Facebook and then it's up to you whether you watch the first part. Of course I'd like you to. Now the hardest bit, I think, don't get me wrong, you know, I do have views and they are strange, is deciding which one's your left one and which one's your right one, because they now need to be separated, so because we have every single bit we could possibly want. And yep, that one goes with that one goes with that one. So it is a bit of a thing. I know. You can see that I'm concentrating. So we've got to get them right. And it is a bit of a trick, really. There's just no two ways about it. So if I've got that one, then that one. Okay. So yes, dividing them up to a pile. And some fabrics are easier than others because of right side and left side and how visible the difference is on the fabric. But here we go. So we have the base, and what we're aiming to do is we're aiming to get all our seams on the outside. So I have my right side facing up because I want this side to be the non-slippy side, and I have right side facing up, right side facing down, so right side to right side. I'm going to find the middle here and I'm going to mark with a pin, and I'm going to stretch this round, and then a very simple matter, making sure I leave enough hem allowance, and then I can literally sew these together. I'm using a nice large stitch. I'm letting the machine take the fabric. All I'm doing is just, now I'm going to turn the base and allow the front to steer, because it's not level, so I just have to steer the top, which is fine. Okay, so that's it. I've left my hem allowance again. I'm going to take my long bit, and again I'm going to line up the middle, and I want my right side on the inside. And I'm going to mark it with a pin. So I'm then going to take the end, I'm going to leave myself a hem allowance, I'm going to start in the middle, and then I'm going to steer this round. Now that I'm closer to the middle, I can take the pin out. I'm going to lay it flat so that I'm now sewing the top. I'm going to make sure my foot's down, and I can line this round. Now it's really up to you how many pins you put in, because it's just life, isn't it, really? How many are you happy with? I'm going to make sure the middle's to the middle. And then I'm going to sew round. And make sure everything's tucked out of the way as well. So let's get that done. And then make sure that I haven't got too much cloth to the end. So there we are, we've got half a boot done, and if we turn it inside out we can see that it's becoming boot shaped, and we need to make sure that we have enough for our ankle. So we're going to just do the lining now, and it's exactly the same. We're going to start off with the foot, and we're going to line these up so that we've got the right side to the right side on the inside, and away we go. Okay, just going to line it up so we're all ready to come down the side. We've made sure the excess is taken up. That's done. And of course we've left ourselves a hem allowance. There we go. So, and the same again. Right side in, halfway to the slipper. A little pin, more of a mark than a place, and then take this right round to the back here. And then make sure we've got our hem allowance again. And woohoo! Make sure everything's flat. And then curve it round. So I'm just coming up to the bit of the foot that goes up. I'm going to lift up my foot of the sewing machine. I'm going to get rid of my pin. And now I'm going to twist it round so that I've got this bit to sew. I have to make sure that everything else is out of the way, and then I can start sewing. Okay, I'm halfway through the top now, so I can move that all around. Okay, so we now need the sole of the shoe, the slipper, and we can lay that out and then we can adjust it. We need to pick up more fabric. And then we just follow it round again. Very, very simple. Okay. Now, on either the lining or the outer one, we then need to take the tube and we need need to sew that up. So, but we do need to leave one so we can turn it inside out. There we go. A couple of reverse stitches and we're ready for the next stage. Hi, welcome back. Okay, so I've got now my 2 slippers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn one inside out and then I'm going to sew them together. Now, I know I always have problems with right side to right side and which bit you turn inside out and everything else like that. But as long as you remember it's right side to right side, then we should be fine. So, I'm putting the outside one in because the lining is slightly longer. Now when we're sewing a circle like this, first of all I'm going to join up the seams at the back and I'm going to make sure they're nice and straight, and I'm going to mark them with a pin. I'm then going to take and measure it just by eye and hand so that I can mark this. Now you can mark as many places as you want, you really can, it's really up to you. Now I do want a turning inside out hole, so I'm not going to start at the seam because I'm going to start where it's going to be flat and level. So if I start there and stop there, I should be fine. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I've got it in a non-conspicuous turny aroundy bit. So I've marked where I'm going to stop with a pin and I can start sewing. Now, because we've got this with a pin and we've all got it tucked up, even though it looks like a fiddly bit of sew, it's only a straight line, so we should be alright. So what I'm doing is every couple of inches is I'm just adjusting it and making sure it's straight and making sure that I'm not pulling either the top piece of fabric or the bottom piece of fabric. It's very easy to do with fleece. Uppy puppy! Adjusted my seam just before I came up to it so that I know that my seam will line up. It just makes it look so much more neat. Alright, taking it out of the sewing machine. Now what I need to do is turn it inside out. So I've pulled one foot through, I'm going to pull the other foot through, and then hopefully, I'm joking, I can then push this foot back inside the other one. So the only thing we've got to make sure that we don't do is if that we're using 2 pieces of fabric on the tube for the leg, that we don't end up with, how can I describe it? The foot facing the other way. So, okay, now I've got to find the hole where the seam was, and I think actually for neatness' sake I'm just going to hand sew that. So that's the basic slipper done, and we've got just a standard bootie there. You can, before we put some stitches in there, put some stuffing in. I think the easiest way to do that is take a foot pattern and just stitch around some cotton and then stuff the cotton and then stuff that in there. But because you do want something there, although obviously if you've managed to get hold of something like that, then that's better. Okay, so that's the boot now made. I'm going to make the other one, and I'll be right back with you.